Cape Town resident. I've been playing in clubs in Cape Town for the last, I guess, nearly 20 years. When I was starting out, there was a cartel, a clique at the top, exactly the way there is now. It was a bit smaller. The scene was concentrated around 1 or 2 clubs. There were no external events. There was no... Guys who got to play in Joburg were considered godly. And there was not much traveling between cities. The scenes were completely disparate. Joburg, Cape Town. The guys these days, you know, there's a lot more options open to you, and there's a lot more clubs, there's a lot more availability to travel, Joburg, Cape Town, Durban. But you still have to put your foot in the door, and you still have to phone up that guy who's never fucking heard of you before, and you still have to put your heart on the line to say, please book me, or please listen to my mix, and a fair amount of compromise is involved in that. I've never been big on crowd favorites. I've never been big on ritzy gigs with models in them, clubs that, you know, that have R&B nights, you know, crap like that. People like that just don't book me. I mean, still to this day, there's plenty of people out there who go, Bruno, well, fuck that guy. He's fucking hard work. And I fully admit I probably am hard work for a lot of these people. But those aren't the people that I want to be involved with. It takes a while to be able to build up a profile where you can be as uncompromising as that. When I was beginning, your proximity to music was what got you booked. Apart from your proximity to the right people also got you booked. But that only lasted a while. Basically, if you had the records, you played. And nowadays, everyone's got the records, everyone's got the tunes. Diversification is a huge problem. Because you've got to have the tunes to get booked. And you've got to have the tunes that people want to hear, but yeah, 75% of the other guys in the line also have those tunes. So you've got to dig, and you've got to work, and you've got to really, really source. And you've got to put a set together that's just unlike anyone else. Playing back-to-back is a commitment. It really is. I've been at parties where promoters will say, oh, yeah, you and that guy over there, yeah, you got the same sort of tunes, and the answer is no. It's a hell of a difficult thing to get right, playing back-to-back. And Ivan and I, yeah, we've kind of forged a working relationship over many years, many trials. We originally, before we even met each other, we hated each other. We had an online fight on an old message board that predates Facebook. I didn't believe that acid techno constituted techno, and he did. So we fought about that. I've always been a bit of a purist, and he's always told me I'm a boring old fart. So we get along like that. Actually, half the entertainment of playing with Ivan is the banter that goes on in the box when we play, and the instant criticisms on tracks that get dropped. It's very yeah, we play together. It's very fly out the seat of our pants. We don't really prepare sets. We play together. We started because we couldn't hear the music that we wanted to hear anyway. We were very much into that. Back then, it wasn't a dirty word, the minimal sound that was coming out of Berlin. I had come to the end of my tether at a certain point in my career is purely house, and was definitely, even in the more days, was verging more towards playing techno. I was getting very, very into the basic channel sound, and getting very into some of the stuff on Mosaic, some of the stuff Steve O'Sullivan produced, and that was verging on techno. So when that minimal sound happened, I dived in head first, and we played at a lot of the same parties. We found each other DJing one after the other, and we realized that we could make something work together. The name Killer Robot came from the B-movie aesthetic that Fiction had at the time. Fiction was opened up, and the styling inside was very much like a sort of like a movie. You know, they had the marquee outside where they'd write the DJ's names for the night. There were sort of movie posters inside. It felt like a sort of the foyer of some warped cinema. Yeah, so we would put money away each week, and through that we were able to fund a procession of what we consider to be the finest DJs playing that sound at the time. We got Seth Troxler before anyone knew who he was. We got Butane down, we got Ryan Crossan down. Before Vision Quest was formed, we had Conrad Black, we had Jeremy Caulfield, we had Alex Smoke, we had Kevin Gorman, we had Portable, who just played at the festival now. We had his Body Code, and we had it was an educational experience for us, because we knew that no other club was going to bring those guys down, because they could never justify the price for such a niche sound. Just talking to those guys and networking with them was an incredible experience, and we learned so much through that. I went to play in Berlin, Ivan went to play in Scotland. It was really beneficial for that. I mean, I'm a graphic designer by trade, so a lot of the I access clubs both as a DJ and as a designer, designing various material for nights. Fiction, when they relaunched under new management, Fiction needed a different style completely to anything else that was out there. And we also needed something that could be done quickly at a quite minimal cost, because they didn't have money to spend on intricate designs every week. So I came up with the idea of putting one icon of popular fiction on a poster every week. And it became a kind of a catharsis, that almost. It was almost like reviewing my whole childhood. A lot of those posters are extremely, extremely self-indulgent. And a lot of people that, would kind of look at them and go, "What's that?" And I'd be like, "Well, that's Wilma Deering from Buck Rogers." And people would go, "But that show's from 1979. I'd go, "Well, yeah, because that's old." But no, I'm not that old. But I do remember them on TV when I was a kid. So a lot of that stuff was, it was quite self-indulgent, but it was incredibly fun to do, and it worked. I mean, people enjoyed them. I've seen Cape Town integrate over the last 20 years to the extent that I never thought possible when I started going to clubs. When I started going to clubs, you will literally have bouncers whose job it was to keep black people out of clubs, and they'd make up any number of excuses. Oh, it's members only. Oh, you're underage. Oh, you've been drinking. And you see very little of that now in town, but it's only a very small part of the story. It's also about people feeling welcome in that space, and people feeling like they can express themselves. And essentially what we've had over the last couple of years, in general in Cape Town, has been a move out of clubs. People have moved away from clubs for various reasons. We have the draconian liquor laws that were imposed on us a couple of years ago. We've had unrealistic, we've had council pressure, we've had closing time issues, and with that move out of clubs has come a much more evolved integration, an attendant integration. Everything is fair game now, and it's amazing. It really is. And for me, at the moment, I'm really, really pleased to see one of the most productive times that I can remember in Cape Town clubbing circles. And when I say clubbing, I use that term only extremely loosely because, as I've just said, it seems to be moving away from clubs. You look at the representation on festival stages. There are black DJs playing where previously you'd only see white faces up there. And those in turn integrate crowds. Different support bases come together. CTMF was also one of the most cathartic expressions I've seen in this city for a long, long time. There was this festival that had a completely, I would say, perhaps not on time 50-50, maybe 60-40% integrated on the Sunday, completely losing their collective shit to Black Coffee and Dixon, with guys breaking down into impromptu formation dancing. Just an amazing expression of what is possible without the vested interests, that accompany so much of this segregation that we have. So I'm very encouraged by that. I think a lot of the people that bring up race as a talking point or as a rallying point have perhaps something more personal to achieve through what they say. A lot of the people working to change these things aren't working through Facebook. They're not working on internet message boards. They're not posting vitriol. They're working quietly in conjunction with other parts of the city to make this stuff work. I think as far as we've come, there is one thing that still holds us back, and that is the fact that we're not playing on a level playing field. In terms of access to media, we still have one state monopoly broadcaster that basically shapes the musical opinions of hundreds upon thousands of kids, and it's incredibly sad. The style and the content that they put out there is anti-intellectual. It's counterproductive. It's incredibly reactionary. 5FM makes too much money to be able to open up the airwaves to anyone other than their own DJs. I think it's an absolute tragedy that we're represented overseas by people like Fresh and Euphonic. These people peddle mediocrity to kids. We're not allowed, there's so much richness in this country. There's so much amazing music, dance music being made that doesn't see the light of day. I don't buy their 15-minute mixes every day, and that's somehow supposed to change something. I think if we're ever going to move on, access to media in this country needs a fundamental change. Without that, I don't think anyone's going to be making a living as a DJ. So.